CosmoMuse Tarot. Thank you for being here. We are going to try and get you some clear insights, as well as hopefully some good answers for you for some yes, no, maybe questions you have brought to this reading. Just some housekeeping that I usually do. Really make sure you're intentional with your question, so you're clear about what your question is when you get to your pile reading. And beyond that, make sure that you've phrased, this is really important, make sure that you've phrased your question in a way that if you were to get a yes, that is what you were hoping to get. Okay, that aside, we've got 4 piles today. Pile 1 is sort of like a honey-colored calcite. Pile 2, I'm not sure what this is. It's from, I'm just going to call it my Rocky Mountain stone. It's from the Rocky Mountains. Yeah, so pile 2, Rocky Mountain stone. Pile 3, we have dendritic jasper. And pile 4, we have aragonite. Okay, so take as much time as you need. You can pause here to fill into these piles. If you have more than one question, fill into them one at, get the question you have in mind, fill into the piles, and then, for each separate question, do that. And when you're ready, timestamps are in the descriptions, and I'll see you in your readings. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your reading with yes, no, maybe answers to questions you've brought here. So we're going to be doing a few things before we get to the yes, no, maybe. I always tap into intuitive hits that came as I was preparing, and then we do some oracle cards to kind of get into some background energy, things that are affecting your question, whether or not you're conscious of it, and then we'll get to the yes, no part. So to start, just sort of tuning into your stone and how things felt as I was drawing these first initial cards. Things went very clear, very smoothly. I felt, like I didn't feel any charge in terms of anxious or sad or stuck or anything like that. And things were just moving really clear and swift, and yeah, the energies just felt clear and straightforward. But then when it came time to kind of press record and get into it, I had this real resistance to that. And so it feels like something's going on where you're ready, everything's fine, but maybe you care. I mean, obviously you would care about questions you brought here, but there's something you care a lot about, and so you're just sort of I don't know, there's a hesitation in, am I actually ready? Something like that. Let's get into the cards and see what these add. So we've got the Painter, productivity, and creation. Yeah, I don't know if I feel like you're getting ready to get into a productive mode or something like that. Something you're needing to put focus into, creativity into, but really needing to dive into or ready to dive into something here. And then the Miser, stubbornness, inflexibility. For me, the Miser is really connecting to that resistance. I almost feel I don't know what this is supposed to be that's on the human body. Let's see if I can get it close enough for you guys to see, but it almost to me feels like an eye that's closed, in your heart center. And so it's sort of, yeah, that's what it is. It's something's ready to go, but it's your heart is can I do this, or am I ready, or something has it pulling back for some reason. So it's like your heart energy is kind of pulling back. I don't know. Yeah, that's fascinating. And then we have the shepherd, celebration, family. I don't know. This feels like support. It feels like you have support around you. And eagerness. I feel eagerness when I feel into the words on the card and then looking at it. Sort of that hand ready to do something. Yeah, so the main thing that's coming through here is like needing to open your heart a little bit more. There's some kind of pullback with your heart for some reason. Okay, let's get some confirmation cards here. Hibiscus with joy. We have celebration and joy. And I love seeing the hummingbird on this. That always makes me feel a sense of lightness. Oh, there's 2 hummingbirds. Hibiscus flowers. And then we've got the planets connected with this are Venus and Pluto. Interesting. So transformation. There are like 3 versions of this woman. And it's like she's trying to speak some beauty. I feel like this is where you are headed. You're kind of pulled back. Like these 2 other faces are like you're pulled back and you're trying to get to this place of like speaking your creativity and your joy and beauty and your heart, but something's kind of pulling you back there. And then we have elder with wisdom, Jupiter and Pluto. So Pluto coming out twice. Are those fairy? Yeah, and the fairy, well, I think the elder tree has a lot to do with is it one of the fairy trees? Anyway, there's the Fae realm, wisdom, Jupiter and Pluto. I don't know. This is actually giving me a different spin on the closed eye on the heart that I felt here. It's like an eye and your heart closed. It's like you're still trying to connect into that kind of liminal space. Like, do I have all the inspiration I need? Maybe that's what it is like, do I have all the inspiration, all the dreaming that can be done here? Is that complete? And so you're like holding back because you're not sure if you've gotten everything you've needed out of some kind of dream realm or the realm of, fae and angel and inspiration. And then go to Kola, higher consciousness with Mercury and the moon. Yeah, I mean, the elder card coming out definitely like put a slightly more positive spin on what I was sensing about the heart. You're just like making sure you're ready, but you are kind of, your consciousness is coming into like a more ascended place, but that, it takes time to trust that, to really drop into that, to assimilate it. But I think once you get there and once you trust that you have kind of dropped into a higher consciousness and like allow yourself to be there, it's going to feel really good, I believe. And maybe there's things that new consciousness is like eager to get to with that productivity and creativity coming through. And you're kind of like, am I ready though? It feels daunting maybe. And I just feel the need because of what I initially felt when I was, drawing cards was like things were very clear and fluid. But then the cards, are showing this. Am I ready? That's what it feels like. And I think you are ready. So something about this is affecting your question. It doesn't have to relate directly to your question, but let that kind of sink in. Maybe that, immediately connects to something you're going through or feeling. And it is impacting your question in some way. Okay, so let's get some tarot cards to tap into your specific question and the energy of yes, no, maybe around it. So Knight of Coins is always a really positive card in my book. It's sort of like this, to me, it's like a steward card, like really caring about something you're kind of overseeing and building and creating. Page of Wands, so some new potential creativity coming in. And Nine of Coins. This is a really beautiful yes for you guys. Nine of Coins is all about coming into feeling a certain beauty for your skill sets, for your self-sufficiency, really feeling connected to your sovereignty in a way that's really pleasurable, valuable, enjoyable. And I just think you need to trust something here, just like let go and trust this, but there is definitely a yes here. Okay, I hope that brought some insight. It feels like a beautiful reading. So whatever this is, just sort of, trust is what I'm feeling the need to say at the end. Just trust, go. Do, be, whatever it makes sense to you. All right, if this resonated, I always appreciate support with likes, shares, subscribes. Also always appreciative for kind and thoughtful comments. And just a side note, if you enjoy astrology, I do an astrology newsletter. There is a link to subscribe to that in the descriptions. There's a free version that has lots of great stuff, but there's also a paid version with, just more things. So go check that out if you are interested in some astrology, and I will see you in future readings. Have a beautiful day, you guys. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your Friday Insight, where we are going to get you some clarity on a question you've brought here. So first, I am going to dive into some intuitive hits that came as I was preparing, and then we are going to do some oracle cards to get some underlying energy that is affecting your question, whether or not you're conscious about it, just some things to be aware of, more present to. And then we will do some tarot to get that more specific to your question, yes, no, maybe. Okay, so the intuitive hits that came as I was preparing was like initially this thing of like, it was hard for me to determine if this was you there's perspective involved in what I felt. It was like either you have some questions if you're seeing things correctly, or questions about if you are being seen enough, or your questions being seen enough. But something about, some perspective question around how things are being seen. So not really super clear stuff that came through, but we'll see if the cards have anything else to add to that. Okay, so diving into the oracle cards, we've got the Twins, self-protection, dual natures. Interesting. It's like being able to see things in different dimensions. From different angles, from different, like perspective really is coming through here. Dual natures, Self-protection, though. I'm not sure what that's about. We'll tap back into that. We'll come back around to that. Self-protection. Run away. Secrets, running from problems. So yeah, that's picking up on some self-protection there too. So maybe that feeling I got of like, is something being seen correctly, might be like you purposely wanting something to not be seen, or questioning if someone else is not showing something correctly. I do feel illusion here, and I don't know if it's coming from somewhere else or from you. The storyteller viewpoints, again, there's that perspective and control and illusion. These are shadow, it's like shadow play on a wall. Yeah, there's something here going on here that's like not, I just feel like not all is as it seems. But also tapping into these two animal shadows that the hands are casting. It almost feels like one is, they feel, I don't know, to me this feels like an aggressor, like animals hunting each other, or one going on the prowl and the other needing to protect itself here. But these are shadows, they're not real. These aren't actual animals, these aren't actual predators. And so something about some fear you may have, or something you're running from, or something you're feeling a need to protect yourself from, doesn't feel exactly real. It's not as like big of a deal. Yeah, I don't know. Something's not as big of a deal as it's being at least felt by you, or you're projecting shadows to keep yourself safe, kind of keeping other people at bay, maybe. Either, whatever makes more sense to you. And then we've got mugwort, psychic healing, and the planets here are Moon and Neptune. I'm gonna come back to that. Let's get these all out first. Kava with community, Pluto and Moon. So we've got Moon coming through twice. Community, and then Mukuna with journey. And the eye, the seeing, Mercury and Uranus. Well, that Moon and Neptune, that is very illusionary to me. I do think you need to use like your inner knowings. Like there's some psychic energy you can tap into to get more clarity and kind of wisdom on what's going on something in your life that's not clear, that you maybe, this does feel like something you feel like you're not seeing clearly, like there's some illusion around, and this is saying, yeah, there is, but you have some strong inner knowing you can tap into, and some wisdom, and like trusting your intuition will kind of cut through some BS, to be honest. Community, I don't know if you're running away from community or community's receding from you, but I feel like that's a subject matter. It's like something about community isn't feeling clear to you. And Moon and Pluto, it's like something's transforming too, which can always bring some unsurety, uncertainty. But it's nothing to run away from. With that butterfly, it's like it's beautiful. Whatever's transforming is beautiful. Don't be scared. And whatever shadows that's casting, it's like you're projecting something to be much more intense than it really is. And then I definitely feel with like the lightning coming out of the eye and journey, it's like something is about to shake up and begin. And there's like no stopping it. Like it's gonna happen. Something, yeah, there's some kind of change or shake up on the way. Maybe a message with Mercury too, but I feel like feels like the beginning of like a hero's journey. Oh, that makes sense. Like the resistance. So in the hero's journey, you have the call to action and then a resistance to the call, but there's always something even in that resistance that kind of like pushes you forward anyway, even though you're resisting. And that's what this feels like. It's like you're resisting some kind of call to action, but something's going to propel you forward. And it's saying like, don't be so scared of this. It's not, you're projecting a lot of things onto it that aren't accurate. And you need to kind of go more into your intuition and find that inner knowing and that ability to trust kind of moving forward into something. Okay, so let's do some tarot cards. More specifically about the question you've brought here and a yes, no, maybe around it. Okay, judgment. Yeah, something's transforming. But I do feel you've kind of completed one journey, and you may still be wanting to kind of sit in that moment, that judgment moment of like a completion of some sort. It's like the minute you've felt something become stable, it's like you know, that new call to action immediately happens and you're like, wait, I just barely stabilized in something I've worked really hard at. Page of Cups. But I think if you drop into your intuition and your inner knowing, you're going to feel a deep, you know, a lot of potential and a lot of new energy and a lot of freshness coming through. And justice, which is always about balance, but this card feels different. I want to see what this is saying. Oh, they are standing on that yin yang symbol. Yeah, I mean, it does feel like whatever this question is about could bring some balance to your life, but you may be not seeing how that could be the case. But it does, I mean, it does feel like these are all beautiful cards. It does feel like a yes. I just don't think it's hard for you to see that right now. Again, going back to the scene, like you're not seeing something correctly. But there's beautiful energy around your question. It's just going to take a minute for you to kind of like surrender into what's happening right now, where you're being pushed. But when you kind of let go and trust some inner wisdom, kind of shut your mind off and trust like your heart, you'll see there's some beautiful energy around something going on with your question. But it does feel like your question is a yes. Yeah, I don't know if some of you guys have brought questions here where it's like even getting the outcome I want is like a little scary or something like that. But sort of trust something about what you've asked. Yeah, that's what it is. Like something you've asked, it's like you need to trust in more because it's going to bring you more balance. Okay, interesting reading, but definitely a sense of like something about your question is pulling you into a new journey. And I sense it's very, very close. Like you're already like some kind of vacuum is already happening and it's like sucking you toward it. There's nothing you can do, and it's like, but this is like something's really positive about it. So enjoy the ride, I guess. There's that. I mean, journeys always have their ups and downs, their challenges, their things, and it's like, just enjoy the ride. There's potential. There's a lot of beautiful, especially emotional potential in whatever even if you're like, I don't really see how my getting a yes here leads me into a journey, something, pay attention to that, because something about getting a yes here is paving the path, like opening the door to a new journey as well. But it feels like one that's going to bring a lot of emotional potentiality into your life. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave you guys. If this resonated, I always appreciate support with likes, shares, subscribes. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments. I wish you the best with whatever you've asked. Something feels like, not to repeat myself again, but it's like, there's some trust here needed. And it feels like when you find that, things are going to feel really beautiful. Okay, beyond this, as a side note, if you enjoy astrology, down in the descriptions there is a link to an astrology newsletter. I do all sorts of sort of like month ahead stuff, or when new transits are coming in, such as like a planet going into a new sign. I put out all sorts of stuff like that. So there's the free version, which you initially sign up for, and then you can upgrade to a paid version. And there's just like more stuff like by sign horoscopes and that. Okay, good luck with your question. I hope you have a really beautiful day wherever and whenever you are, and I hope to see you in future readings. Hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your Friday Insight, where I am going to channel some yes, no, maybe answers for a question you've brought here, which we'll do at the end before we get to that part, which I'll use some tarot to get those answers for you. I first want to jump into kind of intuitive hits that came as I was preparing, as well as then we will get into some oracle cards to look at sort of some background energy that you may or may not be conscious of that is affecting something about your question. So you guys picked the beautiful polychrome dendritic jasper, not polychrome. And immediately, the minute like I set your stone down, I just felt an anchoring. And then your cards, these first initial cards that I drew, I don't know, like everything felt very calm and sure. So that's just like the overwhelming sense was like very anchored energy. So let's get into some of these cards to see what else these might reveal about something going on. The adventurer, responsibility, and expectations. And in the background, there's sort of a volcano erupting. We see both ash and some lava, but it's like just started because we barely see lava coming out. So that does give the sense of something just beginning here. And then that responsibility to me feels like that anchoring, like you're up for whatever's starting. Like you feel solid, but serious, reflecting back, there is a serious tone, expectations, responsibility. Like, there's sureness and calmness, but also like a seriousness, like taking things seriously. Interesting. Okay, let's see what else comes up here. The sailor, the adventurer and the sailor, something, you're like jumping off into something here. The sailor, new influences and wanderlust. Something new. So specifically, whatever new thing is beginning could take you into new territory, wanderlust. And that doesn't literally have to be like overseas or on some like, outdoor adventure or something like that. Like there's just like some new territory you're stepping into because you're feeling a need to like broaden life, to expand your life, to push your boundaries. But I feel this, because of what I felt with your stone and in preparation, it's like I think you're really ready for that. And it would make sense. Usually we're not willing to like push ourselves out of our comfort zones unless we feel really stable and solid in something. So maybe you're like a little like you've become so solid in something that you're like a little bit bored, right? That's that wanderlust. You're a little bored. So really ready because of how stable you become in some way to kind of push your boundaries, push your edges. And then the priest, perseverance and faith. We've got fire, and what is a circle? These shapes, like one hand has the fire symbol, or is that air? Oh, that's air. Air, and I don't know what the circle is. Maybe that's spirit. This feels like the third eye, too. And maybe solar energy. I don't know what the disc is supposed to be, but it does feel like solar energy to me. I don't know. I feel like this is you again. Like you have an inner knowing of what you're getting into, and you're ready, and you have faith, and you're like, yeah, I know that this is going to push my edges. I know that this is going to be something that broadens me, and that does take perseverance to kind of be out of your comfort zone and trust, have faith in yourself and in life and in the universe to kind of catch you, and for things to go somewhat well. I don't know, there's like just a strong inner knowing here, like, yeah, I know it'll be a challenge, but I know I can handle what I'm forging into. Fascinating. Let's get some confirmation cards. Cordyceps with revival, and I can't help but notice like the eagle ascending, and then we've got Jupiter and Mars, which totally have like adventure and journey energy to me, but then also Pluto. So this is something that will transform you. Ooh, maybe there's a part of you you're seeking to find that's like needs unearthing, like it's never been unearthed, or something got stuck in you, and it's like whatever you're setting out on here, whatever new things are kind of percolating in your life that you're setting your sights on, it is going to be very transformative and very empowering. Okay, and then we've got cat's claw with purification, and we've got Mars and Pluto again, so Mars and Pluto showing up twice. This is, to me, and I want to say this is like a Black Panther here, which does have a lot to do with like shadow work. So feeling really brave to kind of just like go deep, really go into, this is definitely some kind of new adventure that definitely has to do with transformation, which requires you to do some shadow work, which requires you to go, dig deep into things and see things that are hard to see. But I feel like you're ready for it. I feel like you kind of know. You're going into it with awareness. Like, yeah. And then Tulsi with wealth. And we've got Mercury and Jupiter here. And to me, like wealth can hold some kind of Pluto and Scorpio energy as well. Just picking up astrology here. which has a lot to do with empowering ourselves. So it could be literal, kind of like financial wealth, the way a lot of us would interpret wealth, but wealth could be a wealth of whatever it is you purify and transform and revive and unearth in yourself. It's bringing a new wealth of something. It doesn't have to be financial. But sort of recognizing there is sort of an empowerment, stepping into a new adventure to really get to the roots of understanding empowerment for yourself. Yeah. Wow, this is potent energy. Okay, so this all has something to do. It doesn't have to directly speak to your question, but something about what's come out here is affecting your question. But we're going to use some tarot cards to specifically speak to the question you brought here and tease out a yes, no, maybe. Look at that Ace of Cups. It does feel like it's in conversation with what we brought up here, but let's get the other cards. Well, Sun in reverse, interesting. And Six of Cups. Maybe this is what you're needing to unearth and restore and empower is your enlightenment, your illumination, your ego and willpower. And Six of Cups speaks to the past of nostalgia, and there may be some things you're needing to go back into your past to remember and see beyond the nostalgia of as like a grown person what, even though there could be happy, nostalgic, beautiful memories from your past, what are some of the things that are buried in your past though, that are preventing your life force from flowing? The Ace of Cups can be the Holy Grail in some metaphors, and that feels like that new journey you're on is to find your personal Holy Grail. There's something about needing to face some shadows in the past that you've covered up with just like beautiful nostalgia. I feel like this is so in conversation with the things I was talking about before, and it's hard for me to then see that yes, no, maybe here, because that could go, right now I'm feeling like your specific question could go either way. You're either ask something that's moving toward what this is all talking about, or asking something that's sort of like not wanting to I don't know, not wanting to step onto this path or not seeing it yet, or your question being affected because you're about to go on this journey, and so something about your question would be affected. It's hard for me. Yeah, I don't know. It's a big maybe right now. Let's get a couple more cards, so I want more clarity here. Three of Cups. Two of Cups and Three of Cups. Well, those are very positive. To me, this feels like whatever you've asked about relates to things we've, I mean, obviously it relates to, that was the point, but like, how am I articulating this? It's like, what you've specifically asked, it's like there's some consciousness about this background energy. Like, my guess is for the majority of you, this makes sense, what I've been talking about in relation to your question. I don't know why the upside down sun though is tripping me up from wanting to give a full yes to this, but all of the other cards feel very yes to me. But I do feel that commitment. I feel a readiness, a commitment. I don't know, this upside down sun. I need a card about the upside down sun. What am I? Seven of Swords. Okay, yeah, so there is actually a no here. That upside down sun feels like whatever question you've brought is distracting you from seeing where you're needing to be pulled. This journey we've talked about is like what you're supposed to be moving toward, and something about your question is like holding you back from going your own way, from initiating this journey. It's like there's something you need to let go of other people's expectations or norms. There's something where you need to detach and go your own way, be your own person. And when you do that, this sun is going to flip upright, and you'll see this new journey because you're fully ready to jump into it. Like so much, like I feel like on some level you have to be conscious of this. But something about your question is kind of like, it's like a hook. It's preventing you from actually initiating this adventure. Yeah. But the good news is like some really amazing journey is on the way, and it's really going to empower you, and it's really going to be like transformative in the best sense, and it's going to broaden you, and it's going to make life exciting, and you're ready for it. So I hope that's a consolation prize, a silver lining for getting the no here. Yeah, so I hope that makes sense. I hope it resonates. If so, I always appreciate support with likes, shares, subscribes. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. As a side note, I do also put out an astrology newsletter, so things such as like the month ahead, and when there's like new transits that happen, like a planet going into a new sign. The free version puts all that kind of stuff out. You can upgrade to a paid version, which also adds like by sign horoscopes for all the things. So go check that out if you're interested and you like astrology. Beyond that, thank you for letting me read for you. I hope you find this journey soon and recognize the excitement of it. And yeah, I wish you luck with your question as well. And I hope to see you in future readings. All right, see you guys. Hello, Pile 4. Welcome to your Friday Insight with yes, no, maybe answers to questions you've brought here. So initially, I'm going to talk about some intuitive hits that came as I was preparing for your reading. And then we're going to jump into some oracle cards to look at some background energy that you may or may not be conscious of, but that's affecting your question. And at the end, we will do some tarot to more really specifically tap into that yes, no, maybe around the question you brought here. So intuitive hits that came through. I felt a lot of creativity and a lot of flow in multiple different ways, from kind of picking up on the movement of the flame. I sort of felt like these stones were talking to each other. Like literally, I feel like they're talking to each other, which is funny. And then I had this big sneeze, and I kind of like moved something in me, and I suddenly just like recognized these patterns on the card as like very moving. So like something's moving here. But with that sneeze, I did also feel this need to like decompress. So like you guys may need to take a down day or two is something that came through with that. Not necessarily affecting your question. It just feels like your energy right now, and something that came through to say like you might need to take a 1 or 2 down days just to decompress. I feel your energy, even though there's like a lot of movement and inspiration and beauty, I also feel some tiredness. Okay, so that's just some sort of general energy coming through, insights, intuitive hits. So now we're going to look at the oracle cards and get some background information here. The spy, mastered knowledge and distrust. Interesting. There's a key and sort of like a raven. Ravens are very, this sort of, they're very knowing and seeing. They can kind of, I don't know, I always connect ravens to being able to see like past, present, future, which can really give you the keys to things. But maybe there's something where you're really trying to, I don't know, like control a situation. I don't know. There is an element of control there, though, I'm feeling. Look, 2 more keys. The aspirant, ambition, diligence, setbacks. Feeling a lot of Capricorn energy here, which is strange because I don't always associate Capricorn energy with like a lot of fluid. It's like very structured energy. Huh. Keys. There's so many keys here. Reaching for something, you know, and Capricorn energy can be an energy of like really trying to control things. Hold on to your position in some way. And then this card sort of flipped over. I just saw the guitar bit. That's enough to sort of assume it had something to do with music. Inspiration and gratitude. That's the flowing. What's going on here? This is so fascinating. Maybe like inspiration is trying to make its way to you. Like things are, like the way I felt these stones speaking to each other, and I still do, which is a strange, I've never felt that in one of these readings. It's funny. It's like there's messages all around you, inspiration all around you, there's flow all around you, but you're like not wanting to let go into that because you're trying to hold some stability in where you are with something. And it's like, I don't know, I feel this energy of like it's time to move past that, though. You're beyond that. You've reached the top of something, and now it's time to like move, find a new target, find a new challenge, find a new aspiration, let go a little bit. And when you do, I don't know, it's like when you do, you're going to find this beauty and this flow and this inspiration all around you, and you'll no longer feel even a desire to hold on to what you're trying to hold on to so tightly. Tobacco offering. Mars and Pluto. Man, we've had a lot of Mars and Pluto coming through in these readings. That's in all of them, I think, or at least most of them. So let's see, offering. That's what I feel like you need to move from, like grasping and holding position to I mean, offering to me is like a surrendering, is this like bigger connection to something greater than you, to spirit. And to kind of come into a space with spirit, you have to be a little bit more surrendered versus controlled. So this to me is like a tuning fork. It's saying like, this is what your energy feels like right now, and where Spirit's trying to get it to move, help you to move it. But I think like, yeah, some offerings, some service could help you shift your energy. And then we have Pluto again, Moon and Pluto. Man, Pluto's coming up strong in these readings. Metamorphosis, interesting. And Moon, just, you know, a lot of symbolism in here of feminine energy. And creation with like the womb space being highlighted. It's, you know, creative flow, and music to me is kind of artistic and creative and flowy and feminine. Metamorphosis of your aspirations. Yeah, I mean, that taps into what I said earlier, like a different aspiration is trying to reach you, but you're like holding on to too tight to something you've already kind of reached. You've like summited some aspiration, and you're like trying to just hold things there, and this is saying time to transform your aspiration. And then we have Sage, blessing. Moon again with Jupiter this time. And look at that flow. There's so much flow here. Yeah, I mean, inspiration is trying to get your attention. And if you can move into a feeling of like serving the greater good rather than holding your place in the greater good. There's nothing wrong with that Capricorn energy. It's a beautiful energy. It's just like, it's time to move on though. You've done what you can do in something you're holding too tight. And it's like, I get it. When you move off of something you've stabilized in, there's uncertainty, there's instability. But there's a big ask here for you to trust in Spirit, because it really, really is trying to get some amazing inspiration into you. And once you let that in, it'll be very easy to let go of whatever you're trying to grasp right now, hold on to right now. Yeah. Fascinating. Okay. Yeah, so this is some energy that is affecting your question. It may not feel like it relates, you know, really specifically to your question, but tap into what's being said here, and you might, you know, recognize this energy in your life in some way, and something about this is affecting your question. So we are now going to really directly get some answers about the question you brought here from the tarot. Queen of Coins, which is in my book a Capricorn energy again, kind of holding position. Seven of Wands, that's defending your place. Both of them have kind of this, like, it feels like a solar energy in back of them. So I do feel like you've summited something, but you're trying to hold on. And Nine of Wands. Which is a lot about reflecting on where you've been. This to me is saying it's time to move on. Like, it's time to, there's much to be gained in reflection. You've accomplished, you've completed a journey, but it's time to look back on everything, really assimilate all that you've learned by doing some reflection and some review and looking back on things. And you may realize as you look back on things, certain aspects of maybe a journey you've been on to kind of reach some kind of position or aspiration you've conquered right now. Like, you know, in your body you may be feeling like that took so much to get there. It was such a trial. It was like such a journey. It's too early to let go of you know, getting to where I've been. But I feel like if you were to look back and reflect, you might be like, oh, all of these scary things I have in my head and horrors that felt like happened on this journey aren't as bad and aren't as scary as I, have been projecting. And it's like, if you can that's what it feels like. If you can do some reflection on where you've been to be where you are now, you'll recognize like you actually got through it quite easily. There was a lot of illusion of things being difficult, but when you went through the trials and tests and stuff, like you did really well. Like no one element was that difficult. It's just that like when you feel the whole of your journey, like I don't know, the sensation that comes up is just like, that was a lot. But yeah, when you reflect, you'll realize that each step you took wasn't all that bad. And that, I think, is the thing that will give you more courage to kind of let go into the next thing. Like, yeah, actually, that wasn't so bad. I can start a new journey. I can do this. And that's what this feels like. It's time to kind of stop defending whatever you're holding on to. Reflect and see through some sort of illusion of how much that was, and being like, yeah, no, I got this. I can do this again. It's fine. So it feels like a no to me. Like whatever you're asking is like a question that's holding you back from moving on and into a next journey. So the only way there would be a yes here is if you asked if it's time to surrender and let go and move into something new. That would be a yes. Anything else is a no here. But a lot of beautiful advice coming through, because something new is coming for you. That in the hero's journey, that spiritual guide is trying to get your attention to prepare you for the next journey. And it feels like that spiritual guide is a really profound one, even if it's not like a literal spiritual guide. It's, something's spirit is trying to get your attention and has a lot of beautiful things to prepare you for. So yeah, that's where I'm going to leave this. If this resonated, I always appreciate support. Like, share, subscribe is an easy way to do that. Also always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments, and I really wish you so much beauty with what is coming up with this inspiration trying to reach you. That feels exciting to me. It feels like a silver lining. It feels beautiful. And yeah, thank you for being here. As a side note, if you are interested in astrology, I do put out an astrological newsletter with things such as like the astrology of a coming month, or if a planet has moved to a new sign. All of that is free. There's an upgraded paid version where I do like by sign horoscopes as well. Okay, if this resonated, I already talked about that, sorry. Yeah, this is where I'm going to leave you guys. So I wish you a lot of beauty, a lot of love, and I will see you in future readings.